goddesses were black. Not just for the African now, in the civilization of the Greek. The Greek was so profoundly affected by the Africans that the goddess of chastity was a black woman, Artemis. The goddess of wisdom was a black woman, Minerva. The goddess of beauty was a black woman, Diana. And many of their great mythological figures which were critical to the vision of history, the history of the Greeks in the Odyssey. The woman who has the power to draw Odysseus and all his crew into her is Circe, who is represented as a black woman with African features on the Greek vases. The woman who helps Jason win the Golden Fleece is a black woman, Medea. The woman who marries Perseus, the Greek hero, is a black woman.
What is a lion without his pride? What is a whale without his pod? What is a monkey without his troop? What is a wolf without his pack? The answer is very simple. They are the same thing that a human being is without a tribe. Pray. All right, family, I want to welcome y'all here this evening. We have two marvelous, outstanding, and beautiful young people that will be sharing information with us. One of them is not as young as he used to be, but yet he's still pretty handsome, and he's going to share some information. But we're going to have the young lady start off first. We're going to let Sister Kayla, was Rikeilah, actually I called her Kayla, but it's Rikeilah, go first, and she will be talking with us. And of course, y'all know, happy Kemetic New Year. We are celebrating the Kemetic New Year, and we're having a good time. So, Miss Kayla, are you ready? Uh-oh. There we go with this foolishness. This foolishness is acting up on me again. Look, she done ran ahead. Rikeilah, she done ran ahead. Lord have mercy, man. Y'all done scared the young lady, man. Oh my God. So, all right. So, next to the mic, coming to the stage. Stage. We got Brother Shamar. You ready, bruh? I can't hear you. Your mic is not on.
I don't know.
It's on. It's on now?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, we can hear you good. Go ahead, brother.
Okay, great. So, I got presented an opportunity to answer a few questions regarding current events and just kind of like how the world is going around our community. And so the questions I had, I spent the past couple weeks or so trying to really digging in deep into the questions. And then kind of when I dug into one question, it kind of dug into some more questions after that popped up in my head. So the series of questions I was gotten that I'll point out the three. It was how COVID-19, how it impacted my life personally and the community. The second question was the killing of Black men, women, and children without any regard by the police. And the last question was Black people are killing each other off in our own community. So, for me, I want to start off with the first one, starting off with COVID-19. Start off how it affected me personally. One thing I was grateful for, that I was essential for the whole thing, because I knew that no matter who I had to deal with during this time, I knew I was going to be getting a check coming into me. And I was grateful for that because my brother had lost his job. My mom was questionable. She deals with after school programming, so she was on that potential list to not continue. This whole time it gave me time to grow and develop on small and large scales. My time was spent being indoors more. It was very routine. I couldn't do anything extra that I might normally do. So it gave me the opportunity to kind of really focus on myself and kind of develop my self-mastery, so I could grow to become a better person. It also helped me save on to money also, because, I like to eat a lot. So a lot of times I spend my time going out trying new foods. Since they shut everything down, that was cut off real quick. And also with these questions that I had talked to a couple of peoples about it, just to kind of see how all this stuff, what their thoughts were on these questions, and see how their life might be affected on it. A lot of things was a lot of people that went to one school and had to go back to their hometowns. They talked about how they felt like their life was put on hold because of this, and how it was really hard to struggle doing schoolwork from their house. They felt like school was a better place to stay focused, which then put me in perspective. Like, I'm sure now that you say that, I'm like, I could just imagine how these kids are working from their schools. Working from home, and they have to have that same amount of focus. So if you're saying a grown adult's telling me they're having troubles, I could just imagine a kid is going through the same thing. But also, though, it did give people opportunities to try new things and do new things that they may not have got the opportunity to do just because they weren't as busy as much. And then talking about how the COVID-19 has affected the community. I work with a lot of kids, so one thing that I thought about was how it affects the community as far as youth goes. It made me think about how the lack of programs that there were open, to keep youth out the streets or out of trouble, because the kids are tired of being in the house cooped up 24/7. So at that point, they're just finding any opportunity to go out. And I started looking in the stats, wondering if crime had reduced at all since everybody was in the house or we were mandated to stay home for a long period of time. And when I looked into those stats, crime actually rised a little bit if it didn't stay steady. But the type of crimes kind of switched over. There was less burglaries and home invasions. But there was an increase in domestic violences and stores getting broken into, things in that nature. And that's kind of my whole piece on how COVID has touched on me, and I think how it's affected the community over these past several months. And it kind of, now moving on to the next question, which is the killing of blacks by officers. There's so many different cases that has happened over the past several years. That's just in my generation. I was kind of a lot of the way I answered the questions was really talking about how it's affecting my generation and the generation after me. So my whole thought on it was, I was like, there's all this stuff going on when it comes to the black community and police officers. And so I had a couple questions that came up in my head. The first, I wanted stats. I wanted to see stats. That was the biggest thing when I was looking at the information up. So I wanted to look up stats of people killed by officers. And so when I looked this information up, I found that police kill black people 6 times higher than they kill white people. This usually is high in the North Midwest, and it's like in Chicago and New York, Northeast, like New York. So based off of that, I kind of wondered. I was like, well, when I looked up the stats, it actually showed what kind of officers were reported to our neighborhoods compared to white and black. And black people were white people were highly sent to our neighborhoods to help, which is like, okay, we might not be able to control that. So now I wanted to know what was the ratio to black to white people as far as officer goes. White officers outnumber black officers 5-1. And so based off of that, I kind of had I would call it a biased opinion that if white officers are less likely to shoot their own race, then black officers are also less likely to shoot their own race. But since we're being outnumbered in the police force, we're most likely to get that target of getting shot. And one thing I wanted to try to, a lot of times we hear all the wrong things that these officers are doing, but on that other side, there's also all those times that our community is doing wrong, and that gets overshadowed because by the rights that we do, and that could be just simply because people might not care. So that's why we need to care as much as anybody else. Because if we're not going to put any care towards the matter, why should anybody else do the same thing? So then that also brings up the point to where I think that the community needs to be aware of their legal rights to a higher manner. Because as I was, once I was looking up all these stats, I also looked up a whole bunch of videos of police officers antagonizing black people, traffic stops, walking down the street, things like that. And, in the videos, the officer was 100% wrong in the situation. But on top of that, the people that they walked up on may not have been 100% of their rights. And then that kind of led to more things going the other way, and it went south. So I know being knowledgeable of your legal rights was a big point I wanted to touch on when it comes to this whole thing. And then with this, on top of that, with finding out, with the most recent incident with George Floyd, I was curious because over the past decade or so, I've seen all the stuff of people getting killed and wrongfully killed by officers, and with that case basis, it kind of just like, another thing that's crazy. And I didn't really take to heart until I was like, I want to really look at in depth what it looks like, what happened to all these people, how they passed, how they got killed, what happened to the officers that did it. And once I looked at it in a group, it became really hard to look at it in one setting. I couldn't read the stuff and be able to take it. It was really hard on my heart. It took me a while. I still never even got a chance to finish it all because it was just too much. It was too much to read. It was too much to read for me. So I figured being aware of those people, what happened to them, even if they weren't in the wrong, what happened to them, so you could try to prevent the situation yourself if it ever comes across you. And then the last question was, are black people killing each other off in our community? And this one kind of brought me back to my training when I was in Urban Warriors when I was 13, 14 years old. There was a question there, and it says, what are we suffering from? And the answer was an oppressed mind state. Back when I was in Urban Warriors. And the following question is, what was done to put us in this state? And the answer was, we were convinced that our physical well-being was in the hands of our captors. We were denied access to our cultural traditions. Our culture and history was negated. Our captors' history and culture was elevated. We were turned against each other with the divide and conquer strategy. And what's the remedy to this? Returning to our source, Africa, living our principles, warriorship, and nation building. Those questions alone, that was the first thing that popped up to the killings in our community. It's been 10 years probably since I really, 6 years since I really looked into those questions. But without a doubt, those were the first things that came up to my mind. So it's kind of like, how do we prevent this? You know, I got asked a question when I was asking some of my peoples about these questions. It was like, well, how do we stop the killing in our community? How do we get the police to help us in our community? And I couldn't think of anything. I couldn't think of a solid answer. Like nothing was popping up in my head. And so, you know, this is something that I'm actually, and with this project that was given to me, it's really gave me the opportunity to look into it more in depth. Because now I feel like I need the answers now. Before it was kind of like it's a question that's lingering, but I wasn't really too like, you know, it's kind of, yeah, I understand it's an issue, and I kind of do my thing to help on a smaller scale. But after this, I feel like I want these questions answered, and I want to try to solve them on a larger scale now. So it actually seems like there's something being done for me. You know, that's kind of like what I got from this whole thing. And after all of this, you know, as I was trying to answer those questions, like I was wondering, like, where's the care at? Because it seems like when it comes to my generation, you don't see a lot of involvement from those 18 to 25-year-olds. If I ever go to an event, the youngest person is probably 30. After that, the oldest is probably 12. So I made me wonder, like, where's the care from the generation? You know, I tell people, you know, this going on, this, that, and third, but you know, they brush it off pretty easily. So my question that came up was there some type of gap in between us wanting to care? Because for me, you know, I kind of just had natural care for it. But was there any real push by the generation before me to kind of say, you guys need to care about these type of things? And by the time it already happened, it was too late, and they probably already had the mindset to not care about it. You know, that question is still I'm still looking into this whole thing. Those kind of like the biggest things I want to touch on for this whole project that was given to me. I think you're muted. I can't hear you.
I said good. That's some good stuff, man. And I'm gonna answer one of your questions with care, or at least leave you with another question. One of the questions that you quoted, where did that question come from?
It came from my warrior questions.
Okay. And where that came from? Did it come with your generation? Or did it come from a generation above you?
It came from, I say 2 generations?
Maybe 2, maybe 3. You know what I'm saying? But the care is there now. But the beginning of wisdom is asking questions. And so, who invited you to speak?
Brother Kwame.
Okay, and Brother Kwame asked you some very specific questions, and you answered them well. With this COVID thing, one of the key pieces we want to get out is, how are you feeling? Mad, sad, or scared, or somewhere in between? Because you went through that class, right? So
I'll probably say
that's not COVID. That's not COVID. Go ahead.
I wouldn't say I feel mad, sad, or glad. If anything, I feel more focused. You know, I feel like I adjust well to anything, and I was built to adjust on the fly.
Mm.
When it happened, it was just like, you know, you're prepared for this. You're prepared to do anything that needs to happen. So the best thing to do is just to get through it. And the worst thing I could do was just grow from this matter.
Okay. Man, Kayla keep running, man. Oh, she back. All right, so let me get Kayla up here. If you can hang in for a minute, because we can have a little conversation afterwards, because she keep trying to run from the mic. We can't allow that to happen. We can't allow that. We want to hear from you, sister. Let me put on a commercial real quick, and we'll be right back. All right, family, we back. And it appears that my screen is buffering. My Wi-Fi been tripping all day, man. I was just bragging about it. But now I want to bring up the beautiful Miss Rikeilah. What's up, girl? You ready? Turn your mic on.
Hi. Okay. The first time I was having some difficulties with my phone. I wasn't trying to like run. I guess you couldn't just hear me. I was responding, but you couldn't hear me. So, um,
I still love you. I
I
ain't gonna, but I appreciate you being here, and because I know it take a lot of courage to do what you do, and then I'm understanding you working, and you got off work and you got ready. Thank you.
yeah.
Give her a round of applause, family. I appreciate you, and the family appreciate you. You ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So around the same kind of questions Shamar got, I got also. So I'm gonna start with how I feel about COVID-19 and how I think it affected me and stuff like that. So personally, when COVID-19 first like came around and stuff, I was working, but I was working at a different place. And my mom and stuff, like they were scared for me to continue to work and things like that. So for a little minute, like probably a month or two after it started, I wasn't working anymore. But I didn't like the way it was going because it was like there's no school, there's no work. Then you're just sitting in the house or you're just sitting around. You're not doing nothing that's productive. Like I didn't think it was nothing productive. So I went and I looked for another job and stuff. And now I do work at another fast food place. And it's like COVID-19 changed the whole thing around because before when I was working at a fast food place, it was simpler to like I don't know how to say this to you could be trusted more to make somebody's food or to work without being like how do I say this? I don't know a word for it, but like at work now, you can't not have a mask on. You can't have anything. Everything has to be more. I don't know the word for it. I can't find a word, but I think y'all get what I'm trying to say. Okay, and COVID-19, how I think it affected me, other than work and personally, I think I would say it could have set me back. Like it still can. Like as because right now it's summer and I can work as many hours as I want and things like that. But when school comes back, I'm more of a visual learner and I'm more of a person who needs to be hands on and needs like to understand something fully before I move on to the next thing. And with online school, I know it's harder for teachers to do that, like to help you specifically deeper than like the rest of the class or to make sure you understand specifically deeper than the rest of the class and things like that. So I think it could have set me back, but I'm not sure yet like how it's going to go for this school year. So yeah, I think it could have set me back, but right now it's just on the it's iffy. It's there because I know from last year it was a little hard to do like online school. So I would say COVID is more of a like it it could have been a setback, but it's not a setback yet. And then okay, so about the police killing black people first, I'm gonna speak on that. So I feel like personally, who can you call on if the people that you're supposed to call on think you're the threat? Like if I'm calling because somebody else is doing something or something else is a threat to my life and you're using me as a threat, how can I trust the people who supposed to protect my community type of thing? So with the police situation, I use like as growing up, I always was told like 911, like they would help, like things like that. I grew up thinking that 911 was always to help or something like that until, of course, my eyes opened a little more and I see that the police don't really be on the same team as us. They don't want to be in the ghetto neighborhood to help the people. Like they don't think that you're calling for help. They don't think that you're more as important living where you live or looking how you look or walking how you walk or anything like that. Like being black and being like living period, like with the police doing like that, like you don't have much protection other than yourself with the police not being your protection, using you as a threat, like they need protection from you type of thing. And yeah, I just feel like it doesn't, I don't know, the police thing, I don't know, I just don't this is what I was, let me think. Okay, yeah, I just I don't know how to say it like I don't know how to say it other than the police just aren't trusted, and like personally they're not trusted to me anymore. And for the community, it's on a rocky hand. Like for the people I know, because of course I got Black family members and Black people who have had interactions with the police that weren't good and things like that. For the people I know, the police don't help. For the people, from what I see, the police don't help much for Black people, like things like that. So for the community, I would say I don't really like think the police are much of a, they don't impact us very much and things like that. And personally, I feel like they don't do much for Black people other than use them as a threat or have excuses for why they get to do what they get to do. That's not correct, or that's not like something that's a part of the procedure and things like that. And then the Black on Black crime. Okay, I got through those other two topics really fast, but the Black on Black crime, I would say I see like, okay, now, okay, Shamar mentioned how the stats went up, like for like Black on Black things, like it went up actually instead of going down. So I can see that personally without looking up the stats, like because now there's more like RIPs to people that I'm closer to in age and things like that. Like people are more sad because they're losing brothers and sisters and stuff closer to us in age, like in my generation, like younger and not even making it to 18 and things like that, or only making it to 18 and stuff like that because of Black on Black crime. And I don't know, I think the stats are going up. Like personally, I think it's going up, but it's going up in the wrong way because of how this generation thinks, and they always think it's a score back instead of stopping the problem. So personally, I think it's Black on Black crime is getting worse. But then in a way, it could have been getting better because when all of the stuff happened with George Floyd and everybody was doing protesting, it's like it was for a little minute that everybody was cool and like all the Black, like no, everybody was working together and all for each other. But as soon as that little era stopped, then it was back to more Black on Black crime and more of this and more of that, and things got bad and stuff. And okay, I'm sorry, but I can't think of the other topics that Brother Kwame asked me to speak on. But Shamar, if you have any like topics or something, or Brother Hatim or something, questions or anything, you're free to ask me. I can't hear you if you're talking.
I'll be silencing my mic, man. That's on me.
Brother
I
Hatim,
said, can you hear me now?
can he hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you. Can you hear me? Hello? Hello? Hold on. It's not you. It's me. It's not you. It's me. Somebody out there in the crowd, can y'all hear me?
I can hear you.
You can hear me?
I can.
You can?
I can hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me, Rikeilah? Rah. Okay. All right. She can't hear me. Okay. But you did an excellent job. I want to thank you.
I can hear Shamar, but I can't hear Brother Hatim.
Oh, so you done blocked me on your phone. Hold on. Let's try it now. Can you hear me now? All right, well, cool. Shamar can tell you what I'm saying.
I'm going to
saying
leave the call and come back because I still can't hear.
Okay. Smart lady. That's what I'm talking about. This young generation, they don't be playing. She like, I'm gonna leave and I'm gonna come right back in. But you got any closing words for the people? And that's not COVID.
Closing words.
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, go. Anybody got closing words? Or y'all said everything that need to be said?
Well, let me see.
Cola nut is rough. Like smoking a cigarette. Good God Almighty.
No, nothing really. I guess the biggest thing is uh, how can we get an overall an all around level of care from every community. That's probably my biggest thing. That's just the question I have out there. Because I work hands on. I'm involved with a lot of stuff, but it's just how can we get those outsiders that don't participate in there?
Okay.
At least talking from my generation specifically.
All right. Rikeilah, you got anything?
Yes. If y'all didn't mind, like, I know we spoke on these situations, but I want to know what steps y'all think that we should take forward from here.
Wait, hold on, girl. Don't you we put you on the question block. You come on now. Don't be trying to verse it on me. But hey, that's for further discussion in the future. Right now, what I want y'all to do is called ruminate. Ruminate on the question. Right? Because the beginning of wisdom is asking the right questions. Brother Kwame asked y'all questions and got both of y'all thinking. And I want y'all to continue rolling these questions around in your mind, and we can have further discussion at another time, because we want to mainly get y'all to present to the community. And then we could talk about it in private, because both of y'all got my numbers, and we supposed to be we're going to have a GNJMedia tribe call, even though you don't be coming around like you used to. Kayla done fell in love and she done just kicked the whole family to the curb, but that's cool. I ain't hating, but yes, I am. I'm hating. But anyway, I want to thank y'all. I appreciate both of y'all. I love both of y'all. And if there's anything that we could do for you, because y'all really came through for us, I would reach out and let me know. Hold on, we got Mama Lona. She sent y'all Shamar. Can y'all see the messages up on the screen? All right, just the ones I post up. Can you see the ones that do y'all have a side screen where y'all can see all? Oh man. All right, so family, what we're about to do now is we are about to go into the private room. The link should be up on our Facebook page for you to join us so that we could go and watch and discuss a great and mighty walk. If either one of you want the link, just hit me up and I will send it to you. Or you could go to GNJMedia Journey on Facebook, and it should have posted up about 7 o'clock. All right? Y'all straight?
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Peace.
Peace out.